breaking down all the plays and getting you in the action. We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza.
Oh, we love that theme music here on the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the May 17th, episode 36 edition of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza. I'm Justin Feldkamp, alongside Mark Nell. We are talking baseball for our loyal listeners and viewers in the springtime here on this podcast. Back and forth rotation between baseball and softball. This week it is baseball, and Mark has the brackets. I have the brackets, a whole long list of them. Did you have more papers as an analyst with us in BCSN or more papers as a coach for nearly 2 decades at A-Dub?
Pretty much the same, because I did the same thing. You're breaking it down. You're trying to not mentally look ahead too far, but you have to try to set things up. So, I had them all.
That's great. All right, so each and every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, a new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast drops wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on BCSN handles at BCSN Sports, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. And we are going to get right into it here, Mark, with the league-by-league, conference-by-conference chit-chat here. We're going to start in the Northern Lakes League, and fresh off the press, just after their Monday win, Anthony Wayne wins the outright NLL title, and the Generals were the predicted winners, and a team sometimes lives up to those expectations. Sometimes a preseason favorite does not, but in this case, the Generals get the job done.
Oh, they did, and they, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, that they have all 3 phases of the game going, and it's still going. The nice thing about having all 3 phases of the game going is if one sputters a little bit, the other picks it up. And pitching's been just phenomenal for them. And pitching and defense is always going to be more consistent than even offense. Sometimes your offense has a chance to sputter a little bit more.
Yeah, you mentioned the pitching. Braden Weiss, 8-0, 1.08 ERA, 70 strikeouts. Then Braden Curry, 5-1, 2.03 ERA. And I will say, in a fan of all sports in the area, obviously, and then zeroing in specifically on the Northern Lakes League, in general for spring baseball and softball, a lot of the coaches within those conferences, you yourself included, have said the following: it's the toughest league in the entire state of Ohio. This year, I'm going to push back against on that. The NLL's been down, man. Would you agree with that? I mean, you got Anthony Wayne at the top. You got Northview, the defending Division I state champs. But then after that, Perrysburg's been down. Springfield and Dave Whitmire have had a good season. But after that, the bottom half of the NLL, I think, has not been as good as it has been historically and then in recent years.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but still got to come to play every day. And
right.
And Anthony Wayne played Napoleon last Friday and beat him 1-0. I believe it was last Friday, and so you still got to come to play. But I will not disagree with that. Perrysburg will be back next year.
Yeah,
they lost 5 starters that were to be seniors this year, and you just don't rebound from that immediately. But Dave Hall's, he's got a program, not just a team. A program.
One season wonder. Yeah, TJ Tackett's the star quarterback and lefty. Pitcher for them had injury and surgery, so out for the year. We were talking about Nate Kress, the Bowling Green pitcher, who's going to BGSU. He also had an arm injury. I was told not necessarily Tommy John surgery, but enough of an injury that he had to sit out the majority of the season. But just worth mentioning, not to throw any shade on the entire NLL, but just in comparatively speaking to years past, where you had state-ranked teams for the entirety of a season in the top 20 in the state rankings that are put out by the coaches. We just really haven't seen that with teams in the NLL. But Anthony Wayne carrying the first place banner for them, and we'll talk about the brackets here in just a bit. But it was good to see A-Dub get the win.
And 2 years ago, talking about that, A-W and Perrysburg, I know we played them. We were ranked 1 in the state. They were ranked 3rd at the time.
That type of thing.
But they'll be back. But kudos to Anthony Wayne. Since I've been around here, I have not seen anybody run the table and go 4. They're 13-0 right now in the league, so they got one more. I haven't seen We had some 13-1 seasons, but never a 14.
Yeah, and that kind of speaks to what I'm talking about as well.
Right.
You talk about coming into play every time where you can kind of beat each other up, but you're better for it, and that hasn't been the case this season.
Correct.
So the way we're going to work this podcast is talk about the winners within each league or conference, and then intermix the bracket talk. So we're talking about Anthony Wayne. So they're going to play Ashland on May 17th in the sectional finals. You also got Whitmer taking on Fremont Ross, St. Francis taking on Findlay, Southview against Springfield. That Southview-Springfield game can be seen live on the BCSN Now app. All of those games I just listed on May 17th. And then you advance winners there, go to the district semifinals, which those games will be played at BG Carter Park. And then the finals will be there as well next week, depending on when you're listening or watching this podcast. But as you take a look at that D1 bracket there, what do you see? I was going to pose this to you for each of the brackets that we look at within the district, Mark. Acknowledge the number one seed, in this case, Anthony Wayne, but then is there a team on there that's not the number one seed who could surprise, maybe pull an upset, or who do you think could get to the finals there in the districts and likely play Anthony Wayne?
Well, obviously, pitching matchups come into play. You know, when you're in Anthony Wayne's situation, they've hold. I would imagine Braden will probably throw tomorrow and still be able to come back and throw again in the semifinals. And they've got depth in their pitching, so that'd be tough. But I can see, I had a chance to see St. Francis play. They got a good ball club. And, you know, when Josiah Erd is on the mound, they can beat just about anybody. But they could possibly dodge him because they're going to have to pitch him probably in the semis to get to.
Correct.
It's just tournament time is so finicky.
Yeah.
You know, you play 7 innings and you could be the best team in the world. And
the bats aren't going or another dominant pitcher.
Yeah, or a bad hop, or you just don't know. So, you just come to play and play the way you've been playing all year long, and you got to see what happens there. In the
semifinals and then finals, whether you're talking district, regionals, or state, are you a guy, throw your number one starter in the semifinals?
I am throw your number one guy when he's available.
Okay.
Now,
most cases you'd be setting it up though for him to pitch in the semis, right?
I'm setting up for him to throw in the district semis.
Yeah. Okay.
The sectionals and the semis are far enough apart where they can throw both of those games.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But I'm not a save guy. I'm not gonna save him.
Yeah, you got.
I think I can. You got to get there.
Yeah, you got to get there first.
You gotta get there.
I agree. You even coach at the younger level if you're in the semifinals of a tournament or something like that. Pitch your number one guy. Okay. All right. So you say St. Francis could be a team to contend with against Anthony Wayne. So that kind of turns us into the track. Let's just segue right into there. St. John's 10-2 in conference play. St. Francis 9-2. Clay 8-3. Central Catholic 7-4. The Irish have been banged up with some injuries, so they've lost some of their recent games. St. John's appears to be the team that can get the job done. They've proven it to this point, and then they are a part of the other Division I bracket that will eventually get you to the district play at Liberty Benton down in Findlay. St. John's is the 2 seed, so Anthony Wayne is the 1 seed in Division I. St. John's is the 2 seed. They're going to face Norwalk. All of these games are also on May 17th. You got Perrysburg versus Tiffin Columbian, Clay taking on Waite, and then Northview taking on Lima Senior.
The track, let's talk about that being a battle in itself right there. That's typically where you are going in the tournament in the NLL. Typically, there's 3 or 4 teams left, and so you're still trying to. That's the best time of the year as a coach because you're playing for a league title and you're trying to stay alive in the tournament, and that's a dogfight. I've had a chance to see a lot of the track teams, and I don't know, they're pretty even. I think I would have to say that Clay has probably the deepest pitching staff when they're all healthy. Yep, and that's a part of it too is health. But St. John's, they just. When I had them a few weeks ago, they were hitting 202 as a team. Whew. But they find ways to win. Yeah. There's some sort of chemistry there. Talking to Sam Fisher, the head coach, one of my former players. I'll brag on Sam there a little bit. He just said they gel. They get along well. They play together as a team. They find ways to win. They do little things right. Yeah. And, they got enough pitching and defense to keep them in there, and they get the timely hits or they get the bunt down. and they do some of the little things right. So they'll be tough to beat.
Yeah, in 2021, his first real season there, they went to the D1 state semifinals. He knows, and that's still a credit to not only the kids on the team, but also I think the head coach and the coaching staff for developing the culture and then the program, off of the field and how you get that to gel. You don't just snap your fingers or here's a magic wand. Okay, you guys need to gel right now.
Yeah. Well, Sam's a culture guy. That's what he is. He's a guy that's upbeat. He's a kid's, player's coach, I guess you want to say, and you could see that they have a good relationship. But, they got their hands full here in the tournament. You got Clay, and you've got Northview. With Northview, that they have it. They've been there before. They've got the experience and the know-how to do it, and they won the whole thing last year. And I really like Clay's pitching staff, and never sleep on Dave Hall of Perrysburg, even though they're down.
But they could pull an upset.
You never know.
Yeah, you got Perrysburg maybe take down Tiffin Columbian and then could match up with St. John's. That Northview team, like you mentioned, I just think the benefits of having a number of guys back, it's not like they completely lost a ton of their starting nine, so to speak, from last year. They had some returnees, namely Alex Dupree, Benny Seals, Riley Ames, Garrett Zimmerman. They've had Vin Bentley, a 6-1 record here coming up through the ranks. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year because they were loaded on the mound, but Bentley has come on and pitched well. Roman McCarris. So they have a lot of guys, and I'm just thinking it's not necessarily a ton of games marked, but when you advance out of district, and if you get all the way to the state championship, and in Northview's case, you win it all, you have 4 pressure-packed games that you can mentally go back to as a team and as a coaching staff. Like, hey, we did this when we did this. Not only for just a reminder that, hey, we can do it, but that the actual experience of, okay, you're at bat in a tight pressure-packed game, or I got to get a bunt down, or I got to move a runner over. All that tangible stuff, you've been there, done that, and that can pay dividends the next year in the sectionals in the districts.
Yeah, you got to make the pitch and all that stuff, and they've got pieces back. The Zimmerman pitched some big games for them, and I know Benny Seals and Dupree, they were all had some big at bats for them, and so you have to use that to your advantage at this point in time, and it's a good group of kids that play the game hard, and they played Anthony Wayne twice, very good games, and I think they're 2 pretty evenly matched squads.
Yeah, I think it's harder to pick out of this bracket. I can see it being pretty clear cut that St. Francis and Anthony Wayne get to the finals in the district on the other bracket.
Should.
With this one,
I got Springfield in there too. I forgot to mention that.
Yep.
So they're sneaky.
If I'm picking, I'm just saying.
Yep.
Don't text me, Dave Whitmire. But St. John's, I think I could see St. John's getting into the finals. I could see Clay getting into the finals. I could see Northview getting into the finals. So that's 3, like you mentioned, with Perrysburg possibly pulling an upset in the district semi. So I think that's a little bit more wide open, and I guess that makes sense with Anthony Wayne being the 1 seed. You get kind of the best draw into the district finals and potentially the regional semis.
Sometimes you don't as a number 1 seed. I've been there and got the worst draw. My favorite seed was the 3rd seed.
Why?
Because first seed's got to go to one side, second seed's got to go to the other side, and you can pick the side.
Okay.
That's what personally.
And sometimes I guess you could reflect back on a regular season game in which you might have played the 1 or the 2 seed.
Right.
Who do you match up better with?
Who do you match up better with? I know one year, I can't remember what year it was, Dave Hall got so mad at me. He was the 1, I don't know who the 2 was. We were the 3, and I took him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go below him. I took him. And I'm going to tell you why and we beat him.
Yeah.
The only reason I took him because that first game is the hardest game to get by sometimes because you're tight.
Yeah.
And I didn't think if they got in a roll, and we were going pretty well too, I thought they were a better club than us.
Yeah.
So I thought we needed to get them early, and we got them.
Okay.
He looked at me like, "What's wrong with you?"
That's good. little playing chess there, Mark, not checkers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's continue on now to the TAC. Toledo Christian. Hey, hats off to you guys. The Eagles won the outright title. A lot of people had Ottawa Hills pick coming off a deep tournament run where the Bears last year. A lot of talent coming back. Sebastian coming back, lefty, lethal lefty on the mound. But Toledo Christian beat the Bears twice to win an outright TAC title. Not an easy thing to do against Coach Chris Hardman and the boys.
It is not. Chris has a great program, and I know he had a bunch of seniors last year. I think he was at 14 as well, and but he prepared his. It's a program. You don't just coach a team; you coach a program. So you lose a bunch of guys, and you're just right back in the thick of things the next year. But I haven't had Toledo Christian this year, but I saw them last year. Kyle Gebhardt, Lucas 𝗦𝗽cie, guys like that I saw that are coming back. Duck the catcher, and Malachi, and some of those guys I know them just off the top of my head because I had some of them in class.
Yeah.
But I could see them last year as juniors and really gelling and having a pretty good year. And then when Kyle's on the mound, Gebhardt's on the mound, he just pounds the strike zone and gets a lot of rollover, weak ground balls and stuff like that. So they're tough to beat. Lucas 𝗦𝗽cie had kind of a rough year last year, but really has rebounded this year and had a nice year. I know you have the numbers there for
453 batting average, 4 home runs, 22 RBIs, and 30 runs scored. I mean, that is a heck of a stat line right there. And Toledo Christian, they earned the 1 seed in their Division IV bracket, playing at Bryan High School in the districts. So Toledo Christian would take on the winner of Hilltop and Fayette. So likely winning that game. If they do, they'd face Antwerp or North Central. Advance out of there based on the seedings. Edgerton would be the 2 seed at the top of that bracket. They'd face the Eagles of TC in the district semifinals, and then they would face the Coldwater bracket regional winner or district winner. You got St. Henry as the 1 seed there, and Convoy Crestview as the 2 seed. So Toledo Christian going to have their work cut out for them. It's not necessarily an easy path to a trip to regionals, but they are the 1 seed. And then you flip it to Ottawa Hills. We've seen them be a higher seed, Mark. We've seen Ottawa Hills be a lower seed, and regardless, they can find a way to advance. They're going to have to do that again this year, being a lower seed. They are the 6th seed. They're going to face Delta on May 17th, and then win that game, they would face the 1 seed Tenora out of Defiance. So that Tenora team, I want to say maybe 8 to 10 years ago, went to 4 straight, if memory serves me correctly, 4 straight trips to the state semifinals and or championship game. I don't think they won maybe but one of those 4 trips. But regardless, one of their key players that had a feature story on him back in the day who ended up playing at BGSU.
Yeah, I think
Dravis.
And I think they won. I think they won it on a steal of home.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Ottawa Hills faced Tenora. The other teams in there, Liberty Center, Genoa, Lake, Hicksville as well. They'd be playing these district semis and finals at Defiance High School. You also got Archbold, a 2 seed, one of the top teams out of the NWOAL each and every year. So Ottawa Hills, kind of the lone hyper Toledo area team going against a number of rural teams in Division III.
That's a tough district right there, sectional. I mean, there's, you got Otsego down there as well too, Archbold. I know they're not having the year they typically have, but they find a way as well. And but Defiance, Tenora is going to be, those Defiance teams are just pretty good baseball over there. And we played them when I was at Anthony Wayne.
Yeah.
And they were right there with us.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter really the size of the school. If you got a guy on the mound and a couple guys that can pick it and a guy that can catch it, you have a chance to win some games.
Yeah, and also in Division III, Eastwood, a team just outside of our BCSN viewing area, but a team that's number 1 in the state. They're 23-0, 13-0 in the Northern Buckeye Conference under 11th-year coach Kevin Leedy. He's north of 200 wins in his coaching career. Eastwood is a fun team to watch, a lot of athleticism, so they will go through the LIDA sectional and district. Advancing to face the Shelby winner, which could be Milan Edison, is the 1 seed there. They are a team last year who have been there, done that, reached the regionals, advanced to state. I believe Edison took on Ottawa Hills in the regional championship game there. So that's a BCSN Erie in our Sandusky market. So a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of great Division III teams.
Yeah, I believe Edison lost in the state championship game last year. I know Brad Simon's son, the left-handed pitcher for them, an outfielder, one of the kids that he played for me at BGSU. His son was on the mound, so they're going to be tough to beat. But I think an interesting matchup when you look at that 𝗦𝗽cie is 𝗦𝗦cije 𝗡𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆.
Okay.
I think that's very interesting if it gets to that point. 𝗡𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆, to me, is the best program in the state of Ohio.
You think so?
Yes,
Wow.
I do.
Wow.
They
How about
probably
that?
have more wins than any other team. To me, you got to go through 𝗡𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆 to win championships year in and year out. I don't know how many state championships they have, but it's
Right.
a lot.
And I think they'd have to go through Liberty Benton as well.
Liberty Benton.
Yeah, Liberty Benton would be the 4
Yep.
seed, so the 2 seed Coldwater and the 4 seed Liberty Benton.
Yep.
That could be a really good matchup. Both state-ranked teams.
Be some really cool games to see there.
All right, let's go. We talked about NLL, the track that tack here on the BCSN Nation podcast powered by Marco's Pizza. I'm Justin alongside Mark talking baseball here. City League, Start wins an outright title. Start's going to have a challenge, though. They did what they needed to do within the City League, but with Start already seeing their tournament run come to an end with a loss to Ashland. So Ashland advances to face Anthony Wayne, but Start does get the City League title. A team that wins its 10th in a row. The pure domination, a decade of domination for the Spartans.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're the team to beat in that league, and you hope to see some of these other teams like we talked about last year with Rogers trying to really work at it. I know Waite's trying to work at it and try to get more competitive with them, get more numbers out, get more kids out playing baseball. And I know Major League Baseball, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, is trying to get more and more kids in the city playing, and the Toledo Mud Hens and things like that are trying to draw more interest, and hopefully that picks that City League up and make it more competitive.
Yeah, across the board from not just Start, but on the way down. That would be great to see. We'll finish it up. We touched upon Eastwood a little bit in the Northern Buckeye Conference, still undefeated with those bracket play, and Eastwood will be a team definitely to beat into the D3 tournament. So let's want to switch. Usually we do a question of the week and then the games that we will get to, but I'm going to switch it this week because I do want to fill in some viewers and listeners what is on tap on the BCSN Now app. So we'll be doing a number of games throughout the tournament the next month or so. The following games will be live on the BCSN Now app. Thursday, May 18th, we'll have the Hilltop Fayette winner at Toledo Christian. On Friday, May 19th, let's talk about this too, Mark. We got BG at UT at Fifth Third Field on Friday night, and then the remainder of the BG-UT series at Scott Park Saturday and Sunday. We also have Central Catholic at St. Francis, on Saturday for BG-UT because they also play earlier in this week. Sunday, we have Central Catholic at St. Francis in a non-tournament game. And then starting next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll have the following to-be-determined matchups at said fields. BG Carter Park doubleheader, Liberty Benton High School doubleheader. We'll have a Division IV semifinals at Bryan. That's if Toledo Christian wins. At Clyde, if Cardinal Stritch wins. And then the 2 games, if BCSN area teams advance in the Archbold games, the games that are played at Archbold. If Ottawa Hills advances to Thursday, May 25th play, their game at Defiance High School will be placed on the BCSN Now app. And then the finals of all those Division I, Division IV district finals at Carter Park, at Liberty Benton, at Bryan, at Clyde, at Archbold, at Defiance, Friday and Saturday, May 26th and 27th, will all be on the BCSN Now app. So just check our social media feeds at BCSN Sports. Check out BCSNNation.com as well, and you just scroll down and you'll see the TV listings and you'll see those matchups. Or if you have a Buckeye subscription with us, pull up the Stream Guide TV or your guide on TV, and it'll explain what is going to be airing in a tape delay version on linear TV. But let's finish it up, Mark, with the last segment.
It's time for the BCSN Nation podcast question of the week. Send us your question on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook using the @BCSN Sports and #BCSN Podcast.
All right, so the question, what do you need to do as a head coach to get your team in the best position to win in the postseason?
Well, that's a tough question because it all starts in January, February when you're indoors. Preparation, making sure, you're pushing your team, but also giving them enough rest and giving them enough time to, regroup themselves. I know going through the NLL is a complete grind, and I know it wasn't up to par this year, but you can wear yourself out pretty quick. So you need to know how to prepare them as far as resting them. You need to make sure you are focusing on your preparation from the complete season, trust in your preparation. And as a coach, you just got to you get to tournament time and you got to do your best to try to make it, a little bit relaxed atmosphere so they're not getting too tight. Because I always believe the first tournament game is the hardest one to get by. And, it's 7 innings. It's 2.5 hour baseball game. And if you don't win it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. I mean, it's, so the preparation part is, throughout the entire season, and you trust that your schedule prepares you for everything that you're going to come up against. And you mentioned that, in years past, we talked about the NLL being one of the best leagues in the state. And I truly think it is. In my recruiting years at BGSU, I got to recruit the entire Midwest and the whole state of Ohio.
Yeah.
And there's some good teams, all good leagues all over. But from top to bottom, I would say that it would be hard to beat. So the preparation of your the competition prepares you throughout the season. I always like taking a trip. I believe that develops some camaraderie among the team, and I'm a big believer in that. So trusting each other, teaching them how to trust each other. And we used to bring in speakers once a week just to talk to them, just so they didn't hear my voice anymore. Yeah. We called it Blue Pride Fundamentals, and we bring in it could be a firefighter, it could be a pro athlete. I know 𝗦𝗫cie came in, and we had community members and stuff like that, to try to give a message that was kind of the same message that we're giving them as coaches, but they're hearing it from a different perspective, different voice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get stale. I mean,
so
you got to mix it up. I mean, it's the same thing, and then it goes in one ear and out the other. And then 𝗦𝗫cie comes and says the same thing, and it sticks.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
So, all the mental part, and that's part of it as well, and try to get them to relax and understand that, hey, this is a baseball game. You started playing this game when you were 5 years old, and that's what we're doing. Yeah, the stakes a little bit higher, and there's people there. Carter Park is a great atmosphere. These
love it.
Districts and tournament atmospheres or regional atmospheres are just incredible.
Yeah, one more to piggyback on. They talk about preparation and talking about football and basketball. You get video, you get film, game film. How much film are you watching if you're a head coach and you got X amount of teams in the postseason, one game at a time? How much film with baseball, because it's unique setup, it's outdoors, everything's not uniform in a gym and a camera on a wall or all that kind of stuff. How much video do you need to watch?
Personally, at the end of my coaching career, I started watching a lot more because more and more was available.
Yeah.
You look at numbers, you get on the Max Preps, you get on anything you can get on, the Game Changer stuff, and look at numbers. But you try to watch some video too from some of these different showcases and different games and stuff like that. So I know when we went to the state semifinals, we were watching Cincinnati Mason play, and their number 3 hitter. He's 2 hitter. He was drafted by the Boston Red Sox. The name's escaping me right now. I just got traded to the Reds. He's he's pretty close. The name's escaping. But anyway, I told my coaches were watching him, I said, he will not see a strike because he's not going to beat us.
Okay.
So we intentionally walked him 4 times.
Oh, wow.
And the last time, this is from film, and the last time we walked him, we were up 1-0 in the 7th inning. There's a runner on first base and 2 outs. We put the winning run on first base, and one of my assistants says, "What are you doing?" I said, "What'd I tell you? He's not beating us because he's different than everybody else." So you can pick up things like that. Next guy flies out to the warning track.
You look smart, Martindale. Yes,
I look smart.
To the state championship game.
So yes, using film is definitely part of it.
Okay, and lastly, the BGUT series at Fifth Third Field. One game out of that series, play there each year. if you haven't been down there, do yourself a favor and get down there. It's a fantastic atmosphere. Everybody's decked out in midnight blue and gold or orange and brown. Typically, if you got good weather, it's going to be a good turnout. The games have been close, 5-4. Last I recall, I want to say maybe 5-2. So games that are played. The atmosphere, you talk about atmosphere in district finals, regional, states, very similar atmosphere in a college level, in a minor league professional ballpark. I tell people, why weren't they doing this earlier than 2 or 3 years ago? They should have been doing this for decades, ever since Fifth Third has been there for the Mud Hens in downtown Toledo in the early 2000s. So have you been to one of those games?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going. I'm looking for a ticket. You got an extra? Anybody out there got an extra one? Send it my way. But
it's awesome.
It's BG Toledo. I don't care if it's cross country or Tiddlywinks. It doesn't matter, but it's a great, and you're right. It should have been done a long time ago. It's just it's a boxing match. It's a Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier game, and it's exciting to watch. I can't wait. I'm gonna go see the whole series.
Yeah, and with some storylines there with Coach Halleck, taking over for Coach underneath the program and get them to compete. And then with the changing format of the MAC tournament, where not every team makes it, only the top 4 make it, higher stakes are on the line, and it just, all of those variables coming together really make it a great atmosphere that is on BCSN from game 1 all the way through the entirety of the series. But we always try to make sure at BCSN that we get that Fifth Third field game, and we got it this year. So it should be great on television if you are not able to go down. But if you do go down, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, go down. The Fifth Third Field is a wonderful stadium. It's just a great atmosphere down there, and it's BG Toledo. So hopefully the whole Northwest Ohio shuts down and goes down and sees that ball game. And I know both of them, I think, are out of the race.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate. UT had a great season last year, and I think BG is still in the rebuilding effort, and they got some challenges to deal with on that side of things. But yeah. But even this is applicable. Throw out the records, throw out those scenarios where they might not be playing for a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed, but still it's going to be great competitive baseball, and it should be great weather.
Absolutely. So. I'm excited. I cannot wait.
All right, so that does it for the 36th episode here of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza. For Mark Nell, I'm Justin Feldkamp. Enjoy the tournament time on both baseball and softball sides. It's a great time of the year. Get out and support your community's team and your high school's team, and we'll talk about it here on the podcast. See you next week.